Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. So this week I learned a new word. Well, it's not a new word, a new meaning of a word that I know and you know. And the word is glimmer. Glimmer. Amazing what you can learn when you're sitting in the traffic because someone invented an incredible event where they will close off an entire part of the road network of your city so that people can drive around in circles. So while you're sitting in the traffic, you get to listen to Cape Talk and you learn about glimmer. So there is a new meaning to the word glimmer, which is that it's that moment when you're having the most terrible day and something beautiful happens. And if you let the grumpiness of your day overshadow everything, you forget that moment. You don't notice that moment. So you're sitting and you're having that perfect cup of rooibos tea. It's just right. Temperature is good. Sun's shining. You're having that moment. And then you're like, oh, what a terrible day I'm having. So the glimmer is the ability to recognize that moment so that it's not lost. I love that. I love that. So why do I bring that? Because we know that the world that we live in right now is not yet the world that we would like it to be. We know that we are praying hard that it could be the world that we would like it to be, but it's not yet there. And yet we have to find the moments. We have to take those moments. So our Torah portion begins, Parshat Noach, begins really as bad as it could possibly be. A world that is so corrupted that the Holy One of Blessing is willing to destroy it, to destroy this creation, to destroy every being on that planet, and to reboot and try again. That's where it begins. And we know the story well, so I don't need to tell you it. But there are some things that we need to know. One is that at the end of last week's Torah portion, after generations of hardship and let's say, not necessarily what God maybe anticipated, giving human beings free will at the beginning of Genesis chapter 1. End of chapter 1, beginning of 2 as well. By the end of Parshat Bereshit, things are not looking fantastic, and yet there is that glimmer. At the very end, there is the mention of Noach, of Noah, who we are told in this week's Torah portion is a tzaddik. Tamim haya b'dorotav. Noah's a good guy. So in the midst of this terrible world, we have a glimmer. We have Noah, who shines out from his peers and is able to guide humanity from this crisis into the beginning of the next stage, V2. And pretty soon it doesn't go so well. Noah plants a vineyard and gets drunk, and that doesn't go so well. And then there's the building of the tower of the Migdal Bavel. That doesn't go so well either. And then people are scattered, and they can't really speak to each other because they don't have a common language. So things go. And then at the end of the Torah portion, we have another glimmer. What's the glimmer? We're told who's coming in next week's Torah portion? Avram. So we meet Avram and Sarai, as they are called, in a throwaway line at the end of this week's Torah portion. Next week, Lech Lecha. Next week we begin the Jewish journey, but this week we're not even in Jewish land yet, but there's that little glimmer. Avram and Sarai, who are these people? Well, what do we know about them? All we know at the end of this week's Torah portion, if we haven't read next week's, is that Avram's father Terach begins a journey. So he lives in a place called Ur Kasdim. So if we're on the map, here's Israel, here's the Mediterranean Sea, here's Africa, here's Cape Town. So over here is Ur Kasdim, in what was then Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. And that's where a journey begins. Terach takes his family and he begins a journey to where? To the land of Canaan. Terach begins the journey to the land of Canaan. Does he get there? No. According to the Torah portion, he gets as far as Haran. So he makes the journey in the right direction, but he lands up in Haran, and there he settles for 60 years and he dies. And that's all we know. The beginning of next week's Torah portion, God comes to Avram, Lech lecha me'atzecha me'moladetecha, go from your birthplace, from your father's house, from everything you know, and go to this land that I will show you. And there begins the Jewish project. But at the end of this week's Torah portion, all we know is that there was a journey that began with Terach and somehow got stopped. It got stranded. It got the brakes. And it sat for 60 years, waiting for the right person and the right moment for that journey to then continue. We wrestle with what it is that we get from our parents that should stay with our parents and shouldn't be ours to continue. We're not here to live our parents' dreams. We're not here to fulfill their wishes. We're here to respect and honor them bringing into our lives and the generations that have come before us upon whose shoulders we stand. But we've been placed into this earth to walk a path. We have to make our decisions and do what it is that we're here to do in this world. That's why we were created. What is that? Do we know what it is that we have to do in this world? So we get blessings from our parents, some of which we take on and amplify in our lives, some of which we say, that's from the generations before, and I need to let that go. And sometimes we do continue their journey and make it our own. Maybe that's an explanation for the curious call that God makes to Avram, Lech lecha, something that translators have battled with for thousands of years. Go for yourself, go to yourself, go towards yourself. What's that lecha? Well, maybe what it's saying is, you need to go for your purpose. Terach made a journey, and his destination was Canaan, but he didn't get there. And you're not walking his road, you're walking yours. Lech lecha, Avram. Go, Sarai. This is your journey. This is your path. You need to do what you are here to do. So when things feel dark or when they feel stuck, maybe we need to go and watch cars driving around Philip Hosanna. That's a journey too. Might not be ours, but I'm sure it'll be fun to watch. But when things are dark and when we feel stuck, let's separate out what is other people's stuff, other people's desires and wishes, other people's values and politics, other people's needs, not to be disrespectful in any way, but to know that the only journey that we can walk in life is ours. The only people that we can be in our life is us, is me. Lech lecha. So we make our way in this parasha from Noah to Avram. We allow the generations to unfold, the choices to be made, and we'll watch next week as the Jewish journey continues. May we walk the journey that we need to walk. May we be the people that we need to be. May we go to the places that we need to go. And may they be a blessing. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good Shabbos.